Welcome everyone to Price Action Live at TradersPost for September 11th, 2025. I'm one of your traders, Tom Hartman, alongside Mike NQ Sniper Christensen, co-founder and CSO of TradersPost. Up to 4 days a week at Price Action Live, we trade in front of you using the advanced trade execution engine known as TradersPost, the epic software that upgrades your trading. So whether trading stocks, futures, options, or crypto, TradersPost has got you covered. And today, we're trading prop firm accounts on the heels of some inflation data that has come in mañana. Guys, inflation. This week we have a little bit of was it a surprise? There was an expectation that CPI month over month for August would come in at 0.3, which would be up from 0.2 in the previous month, and it came in at 0.4. So that's inflation up a bit. But then we had initial jobless claims that was supposed to come in at 235, expected to come in at 235, even below the previous number of 236, but it actually came in at 263. Well, that is a little bit of stagflation there. Low growth, higher inflation. That's the what the Fed calls being in tension. So what are they going to do? Are they going to cut rates? Are they going to increase rates? Let's take a look at the watch tool to see.
The probability actually went up by 1%. So we went from 90% to a 90.9% chance or probability that the Fed's going to cut rates by 25 basis points on September 17th. And then by the time we get to October 29th, we should cut by another 25 basis points. There's an 84% chance there.
Jiminy Cricket. Well, it
looks like 3 cuts by the end of the year.
Right. Well, my poly market bet is still up. I'm just wondering, should I take the money off the table? And I go, no. I've never had a problem with losing money. I have a problem with losing out on gains. So I'm riding it all the way. I have less than, September 17th is when the Fed decides if they're cutting 1 or 2 2 cuts, so 25 or 50 basis points.
That's right.
I'm betting on 50, but it seems sort of silly at this point. It seems like the market would already be priced in more than, a 9% chance of a 50 basis point cut. And the Fed doesn't normally like to surprise markets with, hey, you guys thought things were bad. It's actually worse than that. So we're just going to go ahead and double cut. The only thing I'm really hoping for here is that, the influence of the administration is that, hey, we're going to go ahead. We're now in a 50 basis point cut regime. Just go ahead and make that the normal and forget this 25 basis point thing altogether. So we'll see.
Well, it's been an interesting move here so far from the electronic session. We had the report, and if you tried to go long like I did on the report, then you immediately got whipsawed, which is what happened to me. So I've taken 1 L for the morning so far, and got a little bit of a hole to dig out of, but it looks like we retraced quite a bit. Let's actually measure this out. We'll go from... how do I want to measure this? This is a weird one to measure because that whipsaw candle kind of makes things difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Let's pull the Fibonacci lines from the top to the bottom here. And we're just now in that 618, 786 territory. It hasn't completely retraced to the top of the candle from the report. So I'm a little bit interested to see if we explore this full range of price that's now showing up in the options market as well. I put this red range on the chart here to show you what the options market thinks today's expiry of the NASDAQ 100 futures might close at. It's between 698 and 24,000. And that's all the way down here at 698 and 24,000. So this is a fairly big range that the options market is anticipating today. With the dollar pulling back slightly, and that kind of looking pretty bullish as an overall candle as we bounced off the S1 line, or really kind of like wicked through it, pierced through the S1 line. I think it's more probable that we probably head upward today, but let's keep an eye on how the open unfolds.
Yeah, with the dollar falling the way that it did, like the inclination for me should be that we go up. I am worried about what I see on Bitcoin that we were in resistance territory, but I found it has not been useful for me in the intraday trading with NASDAQ to really pay too much attention to that. Like there's a correlation when there's like massive news. But other than that, you can definitely have a massive divergence, especially since like it's more of a close to close that matters for NASDAQ and Bitcoin and not the intraday move. So NASDAQ can go up significantly while Bitcoin stays flat and goes down, and then NASDAQ can close lower by the end of the day, which like keeps the correlation intact.
Yeah, and if we look at the correlation right now on, let's say, a rolling 2-hour basis, Bitcoin has actually fallen in terms of its correlation to the NASDAQ. We went from a point of being roughly 0.94 correlated, or 94% correlated, down to 60% correlated now on a rolling 2-hour basis. So that divergence is starting to appear here already. I would expect that we can kind of treat these as two different assets at the moment. It's still pretty strong correlation, though, just to be fair here. 0.57 is still pretty high.
Right. Well, we have market open in 8 minutes. Let me get my head on straight here. I'm in the process of Mike was down a little bit this morning. I got completely blown out on one of my accounts because I was messing around. I didn't realize that my strategy was still activated. It got completely whipsawed, and I went in for 2 NQs and was up $2,000 at one point, and then down $2,000. So that immediately liquidated my account, which is fine. That's the life we live in, and I'm just going to go ahead and buy a new one. So I bought a new one on Top Step Dashboard, and now I'm just changing my broker on my subscription to match this new one, and then make sure that it's enabled so that it'll work. So my subscription here is enabled, and my strategy is enabled as well. Yes, you do have enable and disable options on both the strategy and the subscription, because if you want to turn it off completely on the strategy, that'll make sure that none of the subscriptions to that strategy get the signal. Whereas if you just wanted to disable it on one of the connections to one of your brokers or prop firms or what have you, you have complete control in order to do that.
Tom, what's the difference between a strategy and a subscription?
The subscription connects your broker or crypto exchange or prop firm account to a strategy. So you have one strategy and then you have the strategy that's receiving a signal from whatever your signal source is. So your strategy is actually the portal, the bridge between wherever you're getting your buy and sell signal and all your different connections. And once it gets in there, we internally in TradersPost route the signal to where it needs to go through the subscriptions.
All right, so we have signals, we've got strategies, we've got subscriptions. Why if I just change the settings in my strategy, why doesn't that just change the settings in all the subscriptions?
So the assumption is that when you have your settings in your strategy, that only affects when you create a new subscription. You're saying, hey, from this point on, I want a different change of mind when I'm creating new subscriptions, and I want to have these defaults there. But we're not going to retroactively go and change all your subscriptions that you set up for your different connections, because you have your risk profiles, you had your reasons to set it up the way that you did in the past, and there's no reason for us to automatically go and change that up. And so you can rest assured that when you set your subscription settings to a certain thing, that's what they're going to be, and they're not going to be overridden by anything other than your signal when you send that through.
Makes sense to me.
Now, I found it to be.
I'm kind of quizzing Tom here, but also like illuminating how we built the system here. I am excited to get to a point where we have made bulk changes to your subscriptions a little bit easier. So if you've got lots of accounts, lots of prop firm accounts, it's very easy for you to make a change and affect all the accounts at the same time. Well, let's see. Still looking bullish from the open here.
It certainly does.
4 minutes, 28 seconds to the actual bell. The market is trying to push the price higher prior to the bell. I'm kind of trying to chase this a little bit because There's enough liquidity here from the pre-market open that I'd like to establish a position. So I'm just scalping out a couple of trades here as we go. Let's see if I can capture a little bit of this upside from the open. I don't normally trade the pre-market, but there was enough price action to get me excited here.
Yeah, it felt like we had like slow volume, I guess, over the last couple of trading sessions, and now all of a sudden we have more volume in this pre-market move than we've had almost all week.
Yep.
Brutal. All right.
Interesting. Dollar found a support line.
Yeah, I mean, it's still in this downtrend. Oil just went off just turned over, man. Wow.
Gold's falling. Oil's falling.
Gold's falling. Dollar down. Gold down usually means good for equities. Means equities up.
Right. And it looks like if we look at gold on the daily chart here too, we may have found essentially the top of this regression trend. We've been in this trend for quite some time now, and it looks like we're almost in this overbought territory here on the regression trend. But if I use the MACD indicator by Alex Bariglu, this also shows me we're in pretty overbought territory here as well. So that's explaining why there's a little bit of a pullback here in gold.
Let's see what the options markets say about gold here. 1 second. I'm curious. All right, can I get that here?
So one thing I do want to show is that while I'm trading multiple prop firm accounts through TradersPost using this strategy, and I can see all of my accounts on TradersPost at the same time. Let me pull up that window here. I see all of my accounts here on the dashboard. I can also go to strategies, head to my strategy, and I can see all the accounts subscribed to this strategy at the same time, along with all the P&L, without having to log into multiple Tradevate accounts to see this data, right? I see all my Tradeify accounts, I see my Take Profit Traders, I see my Apex accounts. And I can sort of track the P&L here by just refreshing the page and keeping an eye on it here. This trade is starting to play out. But one other thing I can do is connect one of these Tradevate accounts. In this case, I connected my Apex accounts, and I can also keep track of my open P&L and positions here on TradingView. So I can see that there's an open position in this one Apex account. I just choose one at random, and I can keep track of the open P&L there. If I switch to the MNQ symbol, I can also see the open order that's available here. Or not open available, but the open order that I've submitted in this one account, knowing that I have 15 other accounts that are also trading this same symbol at roughly the same price. I can't close this from the chart because that would only close it for that one account. But I can monitor it from here. This allows me to see where my take profit and my stop loss showed up. I can see my active P&L. So it is possible to do pretty much everything from TradingView, where I set my line alerts, I can enter my position, and then I can keep an eye on one of my tracking accounts, if you will, knowing that it's affecting all the other accounts at the same time. And if I really want to know for sure that everything got into a trade, I just head to TradersPost and check out the strategy dashboard to confirm that all these accounts are in a trade right now. All right, a few seconds to the open. Let's see if we open bullish. There we go. So I just took profit on that trade. At least I got one. All right, now let's get back to the usual business of setting up a trade for the day. Because this little pre-market activity wasn't as profitable as I had hoped it would be.
Well, I was up $2,000 at one point, a few seconds before I was down $2,000.
That's always fun. I like being in the money and then just giving it all back.
That high water mark still makes me feel good. It feels decidedly different than going straight down.
You know, the downside is that in Apex accounts, that high water mark really counts against you because they have real-time max drawdown limits, and they use your max net liquidity amount to calculate where your drawdown is. So if you go up by $1,000 and then come right back down again, you've automatically lost $1,000 worth of your drawdown.
Why'd you have to remind me of that? All right, that's
one downside to real-time drawdown limits. End of day drawdown limits are obviously a lot better, and of course having more drawdown is a lot better as well.
All right, so here's my dilemma, Mike. So I just took my trade. I did one NQ, went ahead, made 365 inside the new account. Is the idea that I stop now with this account for the day and just tomorrow make my profit that day and the next day make my profit, or should I be trying to go for $1,500 profit every day, and until I get there I'm sort of wasting my time babysitting this account throughout the month?
You're on Top Step, right?
Top Step, yeah.
So you're in the eval stage?
I'm in the eval stage.
Isn't it a 50% consistency requirement?
Yeah, so as long as I don't do
more than 1,500, then yes, I would shoot for 1,500 and call it a day, and then continue to just you can make 1,500 every day after that until you hit your profit target. Just don't exceed 1,500 for a single day.
Got it. What about the idea that like there's not really any point to nursing an eval account? You might as well
not if it would exceed your daily max profit that you're trying to go for, right?
No, what if I'm trying to get a small amount? What if I'm trying to do, $300 a day for 30 days? Is that like not worthwhile? Just go ahead and try to pass that account as soon as you can that month, as opposed to...
I think it is, because it's easier to lock in $300 in profit than it is to lock in 1,000, especially if you're trading more than once for that trade. If you have one good trade and it's just going and going and going, then yeah, absolutely hang on to that trend as long as possible until you hit your max target. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense in my mind to try to keep aiming for more profit in a single day. If there's a chance that you're going to give back the 300 that you've already made. And I think we find ourselves in that situation a lot, right? Where we were up on the day, we would have been able to lock in $300 or $400 worth of profit. And then we try to chase a bunch more trades. And now all of a sudden we find ourselves only up 100 for the day. And it's just that much harder to get back to where we were. So if you can get to even a minimum target for the day, I think you should lock yourself out and call it, because it's really about consistent daily profit more than anything else.
Interesting.
And I think that this is the fascinating part. It's not really the number that matters. It's about getting to the goal. And even if we are only getting there by $150 a day, you just add more trading days. Just add another trading day, and keep going until you hit that target. If you can find a trade that works really well and hang on to it, great. But in this environment, there's not a lot of follow through, it seems, lately. So if you can capture even just $150 or $200 for the day, take it, because that's not the money that translates to a payout. It's just getting you closer to the goal.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're about 5 minutes into the open here. I see this nice gap up from the report. It's about 0.41%. I'd like to see if we're going to close below VWAP. Obviously, looking at the 15-minute chart, this isn't really overbought territory yet. We've got plenty of upside to R1, but we did touch the top of the price range that the options market was anticipating. So this could be a little bit of the end of the move, but I want to see how price responds to VWAP here, and I'll start building up a position.
So 65, 67, wait, what is it? 66 on RSI on the 15. It's not enough into the overbought territory to feel that, to consider that to be overbought. Like, you need the 70?
I don't use RSI. I use MACD V, which is the indicator that Alex Brigley put together. It's basically volatility normalized MACD. And yeah, if I look at this indicator, I would expect price to be much closer to, or excuse me, not price, but the indicator to be much closer to 150 in order to feel like we're in overbought territory on the 15 minute. On the 5 minute, we're still not there either. It should be closer to 144. So we've got a little bit of room to the upside. That said, VWAP is the main indicator here. So let's see where price shows up.
We got Peter in the chat, who is soon enough going to be trading his own prop firm.
Ooh, exciting.
Hopefully to ruin, or he will damage our brotherhood and our camaraderie.
He's going to do extremely well at it. Get to his first payout in the first 30 days.
And then you'll also not like him, Mike. You'll feel what I feel with Peter.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm a fan of the concept in Hinduism, mudita, which is the idea that I get joy out of seeing other people experience joy.
I mean, I do too, just not Peter.
I love the brotherly love. Okay, took a small scalp just there and made I made $40 back, and it looks like we're starting to pull back. We got EVWAP as a potential source of support, and about a third of the gap is closed already.
All right, I'm in my short here. All right, I just got closed.
So we were talking earlier about avoiding even just the first, hour and a half of the session. I don't think I can do it, Tom.
Oh, I'm not after today. I think avoid the first hour and a half. I should have been there an hour earlier. What am I talking about? Avoid this.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it. I like trading the open. I've had a lot of consistent success there. Plus, it's just convenient. I can pick up some profit and then call it a day and move on with the rest of my day.
That's right. The idea that you can make the profit you need even within one crazy open, one 15-minute candle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the idea between that or nursing a couple of positions for the whole remainder of the session.
Oh, it's
painful.
Very painful. Very it's a lot of work to sit there and manage a trade all day long. So I'd rather just trade the open, find a good signal, follow the price action, hang on to the trend, and then go from there. So I like this close candle here. I'm going to go ahead and start to open a position short. I already have another scalp trade open as well. So there's a couple of trades open. Let me show the M and Q chart here. You can see that I'm short 2 contracts at the moment, and one of them has a take profit and a stop loss already assigned to it. So I'll pick up some locked in profit on that trade, but the other one I'll just hold to see if it's got some trend behind it. So I'm hoping I wanted to present this a little bit differently today to see if I can make it clearer about how to sort of keep track of your open P&L all in TradingView without having to even open TradeEvade. This only really works for the TradeEvade accounts, of course, because you can't connect Project X to TradingView.
All right, did we get a follow through? If you guys are interested also in scaling your prop firm account trading, you can do so with TradersPost. It's the best platform in order to do this. You get to have all the joys and benefits and advantages of manually trading if you wanted to, or automate your trades and scale it across 5, 10, 15, 20 different accounts. It's there's something about leveraging your own wins, which is extremely satisfying. And you guys will notice that we're using the platform, and it's one of the beauties of TradersPost that it runs so well that I might go the entire trading session and never have to open TradersPost again because it just works. I find that to be both a boon and a downside. It's like the software that I rely on in order to do this, I never even have to look at. In the same way that I drop files into a Dropbox and I never have to worry about where my files are afterwards.
Yep. I do get in here, of course, to enable, disable, check the dashboard, manage the accounts, things like that. I want to turn this strategy on and prepare for a scalp trade at some point. But I agree with you. I think being able to do a lot of this stuff off platform and have a ton of trust in the way TradersPost works, knowing that in the background is doing everything I told it to do. It's going to trade all the accounts in parallel. It's going to manage all the position sizes for me properly. So it'll trade 1 M&Q on the smaller accounts, but up to 3 M&Q on the larger accounts that have more drawdown. And it'll do all of that for me automatically, manage all the positions correctly.
All right, so I just made 150 on that.
I like it.
I wish I was still in the short, but I don't know. I'm just debating this thing of keeping my money or giving it back.
Fair. I think this is definitely a trend forming on the open here, and I want to see how far we can go. I've been making these last few trading sessions, especially since last Friday, have taught me that trend is starting to show up a little bit, and I want to see if we can go a little bit farther. I'm still salty about last Friday. I can't cope. Especially when all the indicators were telling me, like, this is an excellent short. Stay in this short.
That's right.
So I'm trying not to be too overeager about getting that potential again. It did happen again yesterday, but I had to pay the price of chop before it finally happened. Yesterday's price action was such a pain in the butt. It was below, it was above, it was below, it was above, and then finally found a trend towards the end. The lunch hour is what happened, and that's not my favorite zone to trade either.
I finally found. Remember, I was asking you, like, why would you ever buy a breakout as opposed to the pullback? Like, why? Yeah. And you made the argument. No, you can start getting your position on the break that's confirming the trend. On the pullback, you add in, and you're able to grow your position that way. I've now since now that I've increased the size of my positions, the breakout now makes a lot of sense because I might get that profit before I even get to the pullback.
The second pullback, yeah. And you can if you're scalping that trade and you have a take profit in place, then yeah, you can pick up that profit right away. Especially if there's momentum behind the breakout. You know, if there's any volume and velocity behind it where it moves pretty quickly, you're going to get to that take quickly. Then you still have the opportunity to buy the pullback. I'm not necessarily convinced it's the best approach, though. I think oftentimes I get in too early on some of these trades, and I'm still trying to be a little more hesitant about where I add to my positions so that I can average in a little bit better, but also reduce risk. Because there are several trades I'll get into too early, and that ends up being the wrong trade, and I have to take a loss on that. Then I'm in that. You know, you keep calling me the NQ sniper, which I love the nickname, but it's really about the Mike digs out of a hole. Like let's it's another episode of watching Mike dig out of a hole. And so I'm trying to avoid those first trades that are losers, because then I don't have to dig out of as many holes.
Peter and I refer to you as Mike Final Form, Christensen, because in anime it's always that. It's always either the good guy or the bad guy. They get beat to shellac, and then that's when they transform to their true self and they release their full power, which is the hero's journey that we all love.
I agree with that. Yep.
If you just consistently eked out the profit day by day, it would not be nearly as entertaining. So your suffering, if it makes you feel any better, brings us joy, which is, I guess, the opposite of the Hindu thing you were talking about.
But, it's not mudita, yeah. No, but I hear you. I do get a lot of joy out of making sure that I trade well, though. I think that's the journey here for me as well. Hey, Aventura, good to see you.
Greetings indeed. All right, we're getting oversold on the 1 minute.
Well, that's a pretty bearish opening candle there on the 15-minute. Would love to see it break these support lines. We've got some short-term EMAs that it needs to break, and S1 is at 894, S2 is at 798. We've got the weekly VWAP at 860 as well, so I want to see if we can break a lot of these levels. But at the moment, we are below VWAP. This could be, and we're only about halfway through the gap as well, the opening gap.
So my dilemma here, Mike, is that I'm up 640 for the day on the account.
Okay.
If
Hold on.
Yeah. So normally I would reduce my position size and then to keep trading. But I've given back that amount on reduced position size. On my 1 micro, I've given that back. Would you stop at 640 right now? Or would you be like, no, let's just try to get to that 1500 for the day, given that I'm already up? That the worst that can happen is that I end up at zero, let's say. That
I think you have to check in with yourself here. Like right now you have locked in profits. But if you see something on the chart that you have high confidence for, and you can manage risk in a really small way and not eat too much into that 600 of profit that you've already made, then yeah, what I think can happen very easily is we sometimes look at that $600 as house money, and we're willing to blow the entire 600 for the potential that the next trade is a good trade. When in reality, what we should do is try to only risk a very small portion of that $600 so that we can lock in the profit we made for that day. Like treat the 600 as a new starting point. Don't even think of it as 600, but think of it as zero. So if you take the next trade, try to risk like $100 or $200 maximum. If the trade doesn't go in your favor, then get out so that you're still up for the day.
I see. Well, I would have taken a short, so I'm glad I did not jump in. And I asked the question instead. I was about to short this.
Yeah, this is so we came back and we're testing VWAP now. I'm going to go ahead and add to my position. Actually, I would like to remain mechanical about my process of trading around VWAP. So that is leg 2 for me. Let's see where this candle closes, and we'll see if we push a little bit further down from here. My confidence isn't extremely high on this short, only because we're not technically in overbought territory here, even on the 5-minute or the 15-minute. I'd be a lot more confident at roughly the $24,000 level if this is where we were opening the short. So I got to be prepared to get out of this trade.
Right. Yeah, even the 2 hour is not really overbought. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do the hardest thing, which is not trade.
Just avoid the trades. Money. I like it.
Because I'm up, and the hardest thing for me to do is not trade, especially if I'm up. So let's see if I can do that.
Okay.
Pretty sure I can't.
But we also had this very interesting candle that we're still testing the range of as well. This is the report candle, as I'll call it, on the 5-minute chart. And you can see the whipsaw price action that took place there. It was up for a second, and then it went straight down. And then now we've revisited a new high for the session, and we're retracing some of that move. But I'm expecting that this could potentially be this is the high of the day, and this could be a lower high for the day. But let's keep an eye on VWAP.
All right, are there any levels? I didn't even check to see this. Are there any levels that have not been mitigated yet? We're just at a mitigation level now. Oh, so the nearest level I have is actually at 23,659. That does suggest shorting. I want to give it a shot. Don't trade, Tom. God, don't trade. Just leave it be.
Nice indecision candle on the 2-hour chart, though. Right. And it looks like we're starting to pull down below VWAP now. This is kind of what I was hoping for, and I didn't want to get out too early.
Yeah, we got a mini sell on the 1 minute, which is the precursor to all the other ones.
There we go. All right, so those two previous 1 minute candles just straddled VWAP. There wasn't a close above VWAP, which would indicate to me that my short's been invalidated. So I want to see where this candle closes in the next 33 seconds. And then, of course, where the next 15 minute or 5 minute candle closes in the next 428. On the 15, we're looking at still a fairly bearish candle from the open, and we haven't hit a new high for the day yet. So this could be the potential of a decent short. Let's see.
Ooh, that's what I'm looking for. You need that price to close below 23,942, which is the 15-minute VWAP, in order for me to feel confident for the short, because I am living vicariously through you right now. God, I want a short so badly.
Just need to give you a technique to just push buttons. Like just create another line that just goes to a TradersPost paper account and don't put anything at risk. You're like, I did it. I did the short. If you need to push a button, here's a button. I'm somewhat of a fan of like satisfying our baser instincts. We like to, I don't know, sometimes I feel like we give ourselves a lot of shame for having these sort of lizard brain moments, and I'm like, just feed the lizard, but trick it into thinking it's doing something.
That's right. It's the whole the reason we can't stop eating potato chips is that they crunch.
Sure.
And we've evolved into, oh, look at that move up. We've evolved into thinking that crunch means fresh, crispy, whatever, until they make it more crunchy. So I just put seaweed in my mouth. I go, there's my crunch.
Yeah, there you go. There's your crunch. And you get a whole lot of sodium with it.
All right, so we just bounced off the 15-minute VWAP. And we're back up to whatever you might call this here, the indecision level.
Yeah.
When would you be looking to get out of this?
I want to see where the candles print above or below VWAP. So right now we're still straddling VWAP. We haven't seen a close above. But I get caught in those moments too. Even when we see candles that close completely above VWAP, I really have to watch price action to see if resistance is showing up on the other side. So I may or may not decide to hold this position if I truly believe there's any kind of trend here to the downside. But if I measure this whole move, it's not a great trend. It's kind of sideways here from the open.
Yeah.
And we didn't completely fill the gap. So I want to see where we close here. Definitely not promising for my short, I'll tell you that much.
No. But we are, it's the last moments in the 15-minute candle that really tell the story, because we just see the complete reversal sometimes of that just right away.
And it can be very annoying.
And it seems to, I don't know if it's just a bias, it seems to happen more often than not.
Yeah. All right. That's enough bullish activity for me. So let me pull the plug on that. And I want to start preparing for the potential that I got to take the other side.
Well, I would have lost this short as well. Guys, are you guys in any trades? Are you long or short? Always curious to see what the chat indicator thinks. The more you share your information, the more we can trade along with you or against you, but we'll be in the same boat.
We do promise we'll use our own analysis and take our own trades, though. We're not going to trade off your intellectual property. People are very scared of that. They're like, I'm not telling you anything. This is my trade. Along with your signal, it's also your risk. So you're the one who's got to manage the position size and manage the risk that comes with it.
That's right.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
Well, there's the story at the end of this candle.
All right, so some bullish momentum starting to show up a little bit, but we need to hit a higher high here for the session.
Okay, so this is a question of, if you get this thing where you get shaken out of a position and you want to take the other side.
Yep.
Then it seems to me that you should only get in on the pullback if you're going to take the other side.
Yeah, and that's the plan.
Okay.
I have an alert set up here at 961. I'm going to catch the other side right above VWAP here and see if I can catch this bullish trend.
But do you keep an eye on, hey, by the time, if this 15-minute candle is about to close and it just gives back the whole move that it made, the bullish move that it made during that candle, do you then go, okay, no, I should get back into the short?
Well, yeah, if it starts to pull back again and closes below VWAP, now I have to dig out of the hole again and build up a short position. But it also means that I want to see momentum behind it. Otherwise, that's starting to tell me that this is just going to be a choppy session. You know, we're already seeing some signs of chop here where it could just bounce around VWAP for the remainder of the next 2 hours. And if that's the case, I really need to avoid this session entirely. And that's definitely another technique I'm trying to improve on, is just not trading the session, because if a trend's not going to form, I'm not going to make any money. Or I need to switch to scalping instead of trying to build a trend position.
So that's what that's what I wonder about. If you have an alert line set there,
yeah,
the way the price revisits that line matters. Like, it happens in the current 15-minute candle, it's different than if it happens in the next 15-minute candle.
Well, look, I've already put on 2 scalping positions here, and you can see how tight my take profit and stop loss is. Price doesn't need to go very far for me to catch the profit on this trade. We're still above VWAP, and I've established a pretty decent position, and I'll make $80 on this trade if we catch both of these take profit levels.
Got it.
So I'm fine doing it right now because I'm anticipating this could be a choppy session now. So I'm going to stick with scalping until a clear trend starts to form. If that starts to form, then I'll start to build the trend position with the scalping lines at the same time. So I like this overlay concept where I can switch back and forth between just taking scalps and then building up a trend position.
Understood. Well, that is some bullishness.
The Cloth says he's long. Noticed it was looking a little bullish as well. That's looking pretty engulfing here on the 15-minute chart as well. I'd like to see a higher high for the session, so we're not quite there.
What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is, oh my God, Bitcoin's back up. All right.
Startled you.
Yeah. You know, when you're used to looking at your positions in the negative and then all of a sudden it's green.
Yeah, that's a great candle too. Look at that bounce off of support. So next resistance on Bitcoin would be about 114.6. Excuse me.
Damn, when I see price action like that on Bitcoin, it makes me want to go long NASDAQ so badly. Okay, 1 minute, 10 seconds left for this 15-minute candle. Let's see what story you decide to tell. You ever do those exercises that some people share on Twitter sometimes of a chart, no time frame, no ticker, figure out where the price is going to go?
I actually started to build a tool that can simulate price action based on a number of instruments. And it was a tool that was designed to dig into this study that they did where they just made up prices and gave chart analysts a chart and asked them to analyze it and determine if there was a trend. Now, of course, what it was attempting to do is to spell out the idea that what we're really just doing is measuring the prices we see on the chart and providing some analysis. But it's not a forecasting tool, it's a measuring tool. So this tool that I was trying to build would basically just invent prices, any type of prices, and give you the ability to try to analyze where the trend might go. And I don't like that study because simulated prices aren't the same thing as the complex adaptive system that are markets. There's reflexivity in price, there is real support and resistance, there's real reasoning and rationale as to why market participants get in at certain prices. It's not completely random. I think some academics like to think of the markets as this random stochastic environment, and I'm just not a big believer in that. It's there's real momentum behind trend, and trend is something that can show up all the time, especially trend and mean reversion. Those two patterns show up all the time. So I stopped building that tool because I was like, what's the point of this? The advantage is in understanding whether we're in a trend environment or in mean reverting environment, and to build strategies around that.
Class says that he's out from his long. He was out beforehand. So did you get out in profit, cloth?
Hope so.
Here I'm expecting a pullback to 23,956 for it to maintain its bullish move.
I'm going to show you guys this a little bit larger of a view of my position here. Again, I get to watch my P&L in real time on TradingView by connecting one of my TradeEvade accounts that I'm trading through TradersPost, and I don't really touch any of these lines because it's all managed through the TradersPost alert lines. But at least I can keep track of the trade itself, watch the price action, watch the live P&L, see where my take profit and stop loss brackets are, and watch the trade execute in real time, knowing that it's going to affect all the accounts at the same time. So right now I'm pretty much at break even on this scalp trade, waiting for a push from VWAP. But if this gets rejected, then like I said, I'll start to look at where price action shows up and see if there's a short position to build again. Ooh, I like that. There's room for more momentum to the top here. We can certainly break this 989 level. I have no problem with this. We've got room to yesterday's high at 24,000.
I mean, the S&P is up even higher. Like the dollar down
excuse me,
is just showing like this bullishness in other areas of the market. So I can totally see that.
ES is above VWAP and clearly very bullish. So we just need NQ to catch up here. That's a good question. I'm the cloth. I actually don't really calculate my RR. I just try to manage the risk itself. What I'm hoping for is that by the time I get into a well-established position, it's at least 1.5 times greater than my typical loss, and that shows up in my reporting. I seem to have about a 60 to 65% win rate and a 1.5 profit factor. The big thing for me is trying to build up a trend position and just hold that sucker as long as possible. So my profit factor varies widely. In my scalping positions, it's a 1-to-1. I'm looking for 20 points of take and 20 points of loss. How about you? What is your typical profit factor, or what kind of expectancy are you hoping for?
I mean, I found that the rules for the prop firms just completely has turned on its head how I have to think about the performance of a strategy.
I think this is what gave way to a whole bunch of negative RR traders that are just interested in not getting stopped out too soon, but then taking profits really quickly and then just consistently showing $100 trades over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Sorry, but you were going to say.
No, it's been a new learning experience because I feel like I've had years of experience analyzing strategies for. I take a look at the win rate, I take a look at what the profit factor, I take a look at the trades, and I go, okay, the max drawdown, all that, and I get a sense of whether or not the strategy is worth running. And there's tons of strategies that I've seen that worked before that can never work with prop firm. Just absolutely never work.
Yeah, especially if they have large drawdowns. So we have to avoid strategies that have 30% or 40% drawdowns over a period of time. You and I have analyzed tons of strategies that are on the daily chart too that would totally work in futures but never work in a prop firm because the intraday drawdown would be too great. You'd hit your daily loss and you're done. And you can't hold overnight either. So you don't get to roll over the contract. You don't get to take advantage of holding the position and the low cost of just being in one position over a long period of time. Instead, we're being encouraged to take a ton of trades in a single day, but just lock in small profits over and over again. So it really does. I think it does. It rewires your brain into thinking about risk and reward based on just small incremental improvements.
If it wasn't for TradersPost and the account scaling, I wouldn't even consider it.
Right. Yeah, because it just doesn't make much sense. You want to take, especially on the higher time frames, I want to take huge moves. I would have, I mean, in my live accounts in my portfolio, I've been in this move for a while now. I'm 159 days into this move here from Trump's tariff announcements and from his tweet that said now's a good time to go long, or now's a good time to buy, or whatever he said. That's not something you can do in prop accounts. That's it's a whole different ballgame here. So.
Right. And then macro only comes into play as the news comes out to whipsaw the market. After that, nothing.
That's amazing. On the cloth put up his expectancy on a current strategy. He's working on 59% win rate with a profit factor of 5. That's fantastic. I hope that's working out really well for you, and you're getting tons of payouts then, because that would get you to that payout faster, given how much profit you're likely to make on those.
Yeah, 5 profit factor. That's amazing.
That's amazing. Okay, so both of my or scalping trades just executed at profit. So now I want to see if it's time to start building up a long then.
Way to go, Mike. Whenever I see green candles, all I want to do is short. Whenever I see a bullish trend, I want to short it. Whenever I see
this is my dilemma. I like being a short seller, so I like the volatility and the sort of panic in it. But unfortunately, we're not seeing the panic and volatility we need for this to work out really, really well. Mm-hmm. The follow through has been somewhat absent.
Well, sitting on my hands has been pretty interesting, because I would have taken at least 4 shorts so far.
Then you've avoided some losers.
Yeah.
All right. I still have some work to do to get out of the hole. I've made some progress here, but my win rate for the day is only about 40%. So I've got some work to do to get out. Why do some traders have trouble shorting? Good question. I think a lot of us have been sort of trained under this premise that the markets tend to go up and to the right over time, which is absolutely a correct assumption to make. I think a lot of it too is probably the reason that I spelled out I like shorts. Some people don't like the price action to the downside because it moves too quickly and it can be too volatile, and they like to build up large lot sizes in their positions, which would whipsaw them out too soon. So there's just lots of different reasons. It really kind of comes down to how you manage risk and how comfortable you are with where price can go, especially right now in this regime where pullbacks don't last very long and a lot of people are buying the dip, and gaps don't get filled the way they're supposed to. There's not follow through to the downside. I can see why a lot of people prefer the longs.
I prefer the shorting because there's no circumstance where I think I can short to 0. And so I'm totally willing to end my short sooner. Mm-hmm. Whereas in a long, I always feel like there's infinite upside. And if I just held on, I could go up even higher.
Yeah. If you're in a long, you probably sold too soon, unless you have to get out at the end of the day. Right.
Yeah. Well, we're getting up to a level where I would normally short, which is at 24. That's where I would normally short from.
Interestingly, I'm not a fan of the lack of follow through on that last candle. We had this nice bullish candle, but then it hit the high of the day, and now it feels like it's trying to pull back.
Right. And I just got a sell signal developing on the 5-minute.
Okay, I went ahead and did one scalping short. Let's take a look at it on the M&Q chart. So I'm at break even now.
I was just about to move my line to get into the short, and then I realized I'm not supposed to do that. Tom, there's that lockout button I want to press. But then I'm like, no. There's that. I don't think I want to do that. I'd rather have the opportunity to blow up my account than to feel like I had to put a lock on my liquor cabinet. You know, so it's sort of like I should just get rid of the liquor if I need a lock on my liquor cabinet to prevent myself from drinking.
You know, I like the liquor analogy. I think it comes back to this idea of like, one, trade with friends, have liquor with friends. Don't drink alone, right? And then two, let's just have one together. So like limit your number of trades for the day. Find one good trade, take it, call it a day. My damaging days seem to be the days where I just trade too much. I keep turning over and chasing trades over and over again. This is perfect though. I like this chop. This is helping. I just took another profitable scalp, in for 20 points, out for 20 points.
Awesome.
So the last 4 trades have been profitable. I'd like to keep this going, but I want to see, you know, we've been talking about like this 10 a.m. window, which we're still, well, I guess we're hitting now, right? You're saying the trend starts to form right about this point of the day?
No, at 12, 12 Eastern Standard Time.
You were looking at some charts telling you that the real trend starts to show up around 12.
It's been true for anything but a neutral market, like the neutral days, like take that aside. For the last 2 weeks, that's what it's been, 12. And then almost on a pin, the trend now starts for the rest of that day.
Got it.
So I'm going to try that out.
Well, I like this pullback. I already took my profits for that little pullback there. Now the question is this a continuation below VWAP, or is this a bounce off of VWAP?
Well, we're not even back to the EVWAP yet, so
that's true.
I would still consider this to be bullish, even if it fell all the way to 23,942. Plus, if it bounces off here at 23,957, 58, that's hella bullish.
Well, I like that you said hella. Way to keep it California. All right, let's try it. Another scalp from the VWAP bounce.
So do you keep your stops, do you make them tighter and tighter progressively as you are in profit for the day, or do you leave the type of risk?
No, I keep it 20 and 20 on either side. But I do watch ATR. So if ATR starts to go too high and there's not a clear trend that I can jump into the scalp on, I'll avoid the trade because the ATR would basically just whipsaw me out with 20 points of stop. So I do only try to trade this way in lower ATR environments. Right now ATR is 15, so the likelihood of me getting stopped out immediately is really low.
Ventura says that I am so hip. You are right. And he is hella British.
Same.
That's great.
Went to a technical college in California. Grew up in California. Hella is a very common word in California. So I'm a fan whenever that's your signal. I'm like, wait, you from California? Where are you from? NorCal?
Oh, really? Okay, I see.
I think we invented that phrase. Or at least it came from the West Coast.
Well, the video game content that I consume all is in San Francisco. And so I think that's I've picked it up from them.
Interesting, Tom. This is turning against me, which is fine. This is why I like the scalp trades, because I'm not putting a lot of risk on the table. I want to see what happens here with VWAP, though. It's not bouncing off of VWAP the way I expected. So if we get a nice close below, I might try to build that short position back up again. This could be that choppy open that we keep seeing where it tries to build some momentum above VWAP and fails, and then a short trend occurs for the rest of the day.
Well, we're in the last 10 seconds of the 15-minute candle. So let's see if the story reverses on the first candle of the next one.
Great.
Because that's always my what I've been seeing. Like it does this move into the end of the candle and then reverses right after it. All right, this is start of the new 15. I'm in some low signals, so long signals from the 1 minute. If it bounces here and gets above 23,978, that to me is the bull case. Yeah, that to me would be the bull case. But I'd love to see a buy signal on the 5 or the 15. It's hard to get it on the 15, but the 5 might show it to me.
Well, we're still in this very familiar pattern of an attempt below VWAP, an attempt above VWAP, and then the formation of a trend below. We've seen this a couple of times: an attempt above VWAP, an attempt below, an attempt above, and then a trend below. Attempt above, attempt below, attempt above, and a trend below. We could be seeing the same thing again here.
Well, yeah, the bounce just got invalidated, so let's see. Oh, it's gonna close. Come on, candle. Where are you gonna close? 30 seconds.
On the clock says it's in the middle for me. All right, neutral. And I agree. It's somewhat of a neutral roller coaster, choppy open so far. I'm certainly not on the bandwagon of, nope, this is a short signal. But I'd like to prepare myself for that possibility.
Well, I'm bullish on the 15 minute. It's the 1 minute and the 5 that's iffy.
So the CQG building behind me, I think we've reached that stage of the year where there's a huge reflection off the top of their building that's hitting my desk, and I can hardly see my screen now.
Are you still in a long?
No, I was in a short.
Oh, I see.
Scalping from here, but looks like that might be invalidated. That's pretty damn bullish.
Yeah. Yeah, so if it gets up to that 15-minute level, if it gets above 93,978, that would be, and closes there, that to me would be the bull case. And I guess it could make sense here. We've had this uptrend, like you've been pointing out, for a while now.
It can go either way, yeah. I'm definitely neutral as well. I see the potential that we can continue on from here up to R1 and yesterday's high. So there's room for another 60 to 70 points of upside.
All right, it's pulling back off of 23,978. Let's see what you do. You're going to get squeezed between there and 23,964. And that'll tell the story. Especially if it happens mid 15-minute candle. I found that too. Whatever happens in the middle of the 15-minute candle is decisive. Can be decisive. And Bitcoin pulled back. Oh, well. Yeah, you see on my chart here on those these 15-minute like VWAP levels, I find them so useful, just absolutely useful for defining the range for these prices and optimal areas to get in and get out. Okay, what are you gonna do here? All right, well, soon I'm going to be wrapping up, but I want to see what this 15-minute candle does. Are you in a position yet?
Starting to build a long.
A long, okay.
But I'm not liking it.
No. Well, as long as you stay above 23,956, don't close below it. Ooh.
Not liking it. So that's a continuation. That actually tells me this short isn't a It wasn't a very clear one at first, but it actually did get invalidated above VWAP there.
Yeah, that's where that pullback to the 15-minute.
That pullback should have been a clear signal that we were going to push back above VWAP, but sellers decided to step right in there. That posted a lower high for that series. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, I'd be looking for a bounce here between here and 23,942. I need a close below, not even. I need a decisive close below.
I just want a decisive close below VWAP here, and then we get a repeat of this same pattern that keeps showing up. Okay, gold is up. Dollar is falling.
Yeah.
ES is starting to pull back now from its high.
I mean, barely.
Barely. Chop City here, once again.
Yeah, this is not decisive.
That was technically a candle close below VWAP, but now the bulls are showing up again.
I haven't yet decided if I like the session VWAP over EVWAP.
It's fair. Both can be pretty critical some days. I like session VWAP just because it is so commonly used by institutions. Less so on electronic.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Well, that would be decisive. I did not know that.
Let's see, might target yesterday's close. Yeah, that would help us close the gap as well. Good observation on the cloth. Okay. A little more bearish.
Yeah.
15-minute starts to look like a reversal structure. Looks like we may have kind of touched the resistance band on the 2-hour chart and it starts to look like a rejection here. We're within the price range that the options market spelled out. They were expecting a high of 24,000, which we've already seen from the recent range that just printed.
We're below the 15-minute VWAP, so that's bearish, but we're above the EVWAP. My issue is that the last two times we're around the EVWAP, it bounced. So I don't know if we're forming like this channel upwards.
I'm right there with you. This is still choppy until a trend forms.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But I can't be the only one who's observing this choppy open, then a trend forms pattern that just keeps seeming to show up. And if that's the case, then it's all a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Exactly.
Neckline at 945. Yep, that feels right. Come on, Tom. What is this?
945.
Chop City.
Yeah, it's too close to call. This is what it felt like an election night.
points. All right, don't need that. Don't need that. MES is still looking long, but not by much.
There's like no volume. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, who can trade this price action?
Some guy out there is like, this is my jam.
This is
Where I
his,
make all my money.
This is his sweet spot, his bread and butter. He's just, it's probably a trader I spoke to recently, Nick. He only trades for 5 points of ES. He's just in and out instantaneously, and he looks
5 points.
5 points. Yeah, that's all he's looking for. I like it. It's a solid setup because you're just picking up that profit instantly, and he just detaches the bracket, calls it a day. I want a little more distance than that because I come from this like longer term background, but as time goes on, I'm slowly getting more and more comfortable with this idea of like maybe 10 points makes sense, maybe 5 points makes sense. Just get in and out instantaneously. Especially right now with the way we keep seeing these choppy sessions.
I've been thinking of these as a stitch. It's just these tight loop back and forth, back and forth.
You know what's funny is if AI is playing a larger and larger role in price action, especially from retail traders, we're more likely to see lots of choppy price action because I don't think AI models would be in a rush to get to a new price if there's a rationale to keep prices where they're at right now. I guess the question I'm asking is, are markets even more efficient because of AI participation?
Oh, I would say the opposite.
You think they're going to be less efficient?
I think we're going to get stock fished. There's going to be moves. Actually, I think there was a paper that came out a couple of months ago where I'm not sure if it was on a simulated stock market or the real one, where the AIs were passing transactions through that looked like they were innocuous, but once you took them in aggregate, it actually moved the market in a specific direction. But you couldn't identify what was going on over the thousands and thousands of transactions. In the same way that you can have two AIs talk together, and you're looking at the text, you're looking at the flow of text, and you think you understand what they're saying, but the other model now... let me put it in a different way. They'll take one model, they'll train it just on OWL information, OWL data set. Right. And then another model that has no reference to OWL whatsoever. Then they'll have the two AIs talk, and they won't talk at all about OWLs, but the second model will all of a sudden now start referring to OWLs. So there's some communication that's happening that the AIs can do that's completely... we can't see it. It's opaque to human beings. So that same sort of thing was happening in markets where the AI system was manipulating the price of the market, but in no obvious way. So I think we'll have these moves where you're like, hey, I don't understand this move, but it turns out 7 moves away is where the actual... that's what the AI is actually aiming for. So I think we can get these GameStop level moves way more often because AI systems are there.
Fascinating. And it's somewhat I am recalling my interview with Ernie Chan yesterday, and how he's using generative AI in order to develop better analysis for time series data by effectively generating that data through AI. And I feel like the model's robustness improves with generative AI as well. It's an interesting thought about how an AI model might anticipate the reflexivity and then anticipate the move after that. That's some 4-dimensional chess right there.
There was this interesting thing of, because the Gen AI is non-deterministic, you don't fall into that issue that you were talking about before, where you're trying to use a deterministic system to generate random information. It is more natural because it's generative AI.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh my god! So then he uses that in
Send
risk
me that
management.
thing you were reading about. That's fascinating.
Sure.
This downtrend is not a downtrend. It's a sideways move now.
Sideways. It's totally neutral. Although it's bullish on the 15 minute. That's my. I'm still bullish on 15.
Yeah, I see that.
I'd be more bullish if it was above 23,969.
We got to break that 945 line, 947.
Okay, so now the next 15-minute candle opened up, and it's even more neutral.
Dollar is still falling, but it looks like it found some support.
Yeah, I found the intraday movement for the dollar to be not good enough for me to determine a trend.
Not useful?
No, the overnight is what matters to me.
Got it.
Oh, look at that. That's breaking above the 50-minute VWAP.
All right, I'm familiar with this pattern again. So this is the chop environment. Same nonsense, same morning activity. ATR falls down to nearly nothing. There is no move until the latter half of the session.
Right. All right. Well, I'm ready to call it.
Yeah, that sounds good. There's no move here. I thought that was the beginning of the potential downtrend for the session, but now we've posted above VWAP again, and now it looks like we should be going long. This candle right here tells me it's looking pretty bullish. Maybe we now finally head back up to R1. So I'm just gonna have to scalp my way to profit today. There's no way around it, unfortunately.
Understood. All right, guys, that's it. If you guys are interested in using TradersPost for your own trading, please take advantage of the coupon code at the bottom of your screen, prop scaling 20, to get 20% off all plans and add-ons. Definitely worth taking a gander. If you haven't even touched TradersPost yet, go get the trial. Get the 7-day trial. Spin up a strategy, use the paper account, not risking any money. And what you could be gaining is knowledge of a tool that's just getting better day in and day out. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for that much more trading. And until then, we wish you, as always, happy trading.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for showing up.